What is up, guys? Welcome back to Between the Pylons. I'm John Camacho. Thank you so much for watching. And today we're doing something a little bit different. These are I'm recording my last two videos before the actual draft, which is on Thursday. This video is going to come out on Monday, and then I'm going to have J.K. Dobbins come out on Wednesday. But this really isn't a draft profile, which is what the majority of what this channel has been throughout the draft process. I'm going to talk about what I think and how I value quarterbacks, just to give my personal opinion, mainly because I have a camera and a mic and I have a YouTube channel, so why not go on a little bit of a monologue here. So I'm going to monologue for a minute. This is where you stop if you have no interest in anything I say, so just fair warning. Now that nobody's here, I can continue. So for me, the most important thing when you talk about NFL quarterback coming out of college and all that thing, I need to see elite arm talent, especially in this NFL. Especially in the NFL we're seeing right now. Because I've seen guys come out that are just okay and just be okay at the next level. I have. And, you know, we can go back to just a couple years ago where we're looking at the number one pick was Baker Mayfield. And he was a good quarterback. He was a very good quarterback. And he still has a chance to be a very good quarterback in the NFL. I'm not shitting on Baker Mayfield. He didn't have the elite arm talent that Josh Allen had in that same class. And we're looking at Josh Allen, again, inconsistencies. There are issues with Josh Allen's game. Kind of choked in his big playoff game this year. But there's room to grow. They're building a team around him, and it looks like it's going in the right direction. I believe it is. I could be wrong, but I personally believe it is. So that's just the difference when you talk about it. Granted, their careers are not over. We're talking about two guys that have been in the NFL for 2 years, so it's still up for discussion, up for conversation, who's going to be better, and then you get into like the teams are better, coaching, and all those other things that really you can't control when you talk about a quarterback coming out of college and no one knows where they're going to be. At this point when I'm recording this, I have no idea where these guys are going. So that's just part of it. For me, I look at the top quarterbacks in the NFL. You know, just the young top guys, and I look at the Russell Wilsons, and I look at Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson. Aaron Rodgers is older, but he's still among the top guys in the NFL. And I'm missing a bunch, so I'm just saying, all of them have just such elite arms. They're able to do so much with their right arm. It takes the pressure off of the rest of the team, I feel like, a little bit. So that's what I look for. That's the first thing I look for. That's why, for me, Jordan Love is so intriguing to me. He's a guy that I really, really like, and I've watched so much film on Jordan Love, and I've done a 30-minute video on him, and I don't feel like it was enough because I could have done another hour. But I just consistently, the interceptions are obviously a huge issue, but I just consistently came back to the fact, like, man, he can make absolutely every throw, and he's got such a good arm that I feel like he tries to do too much, and that I'm making excuses for him, and that's kind of it gets scary when you start making excuses for a guy that threw a lot of interceptions at Utah State. So I get that, I do, and I know I want to be fair when I have this conversation, but for me, when I look at this class, Joe Burrow is in a league of his own. He is the ultimate playmaker. I said when I made the video, he's the best quarterback I've ever watched or I've ever evaluated. And granted, I haven't been doing this for that long, but it's saying something that he's the best in the past 2 or 3 years. So it's Joe Burrow, and then it's everybody else. And for me, I feel like it deserves to be a conversation that any one of these three could be your number 2 quarterback. And if it's Tua, that means you're not worried about the injuries first, which I am. I am absolutely worried about it. I watched him play, and I watched him put himself into enough bad spots where I'm like, he didn't get hurt on that play, but he could have. So I'm scared of the injuries immensely, and I'm, as a Dolphins fan, I don't know that I want Tua on my team because I want a quarterback that can start. If you tell me Tua's going to be healthy throughout his career, sure. I like him a lot, and I'd be fine with him at number 5. But obviously, that can't be done. Nobody knows. So for me, Tua goes to kind of he's automatically brought down a little bit of a notch, and then add to that I never really saw true playmaking ability. I never truly saw just absolute lit the world on fire with his talent. He lit the world on fire, but he did it with the talent around him along with his talent. And I feel like I said I didn't see playmaking ability, and I'm going to get a lot of shit for that if anybody's still listening. And yeah, I probably will. I gotta stand by it at a certain point, man. Like you just gotta show it to me consistently, and he's so good. He's a very good quarterback. He absolutely belongs in the NFL somewhere. I don't know that I ever saw that eliteness. I saw very good a lot. I rarely ever saw just an elite throw, an elite play, anything like that. And I think that's fair. I'm not going to give it to him because he was on the best team or one of the best teams for a couple of years in college. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't. Patrick Mahomes won 5 games his last year of college. Just doesn't matter. That's not the criteria that we can look at. It's just not. So that for me, it has to be part of the conversation. And then we get to Jordan Love, and then we get to Justin Herbert, who's my number 4 quarterback, and I'm just so scared of him, man. I'm just so scared, and I can't say it any other way. Where it's like, I see the talent, I see the possibility, I see, if he goes to the right spot and he gets the tutelage and he can stay consistent, man, he could be something. He could be something really, really special. But the amount of inconsistency, the amount of times really that I saw his own team not just put the ball in his hands and say, hey, go for it. Like I was at the first game of the year against Auburn, right? And they went down to the wire, but they ended up losing that game. And I watched the second half of that game where it didn't seem like they threw a pass over 5 or 10 yards. And that's just so scary to me. Like, man, this is supposed to be one of the top quarterbacks in the game, and you're only willing to throw screen passes against the Auburn defensive line, which is really good last year. It just made no sense to me. There's got to be something there. We know he's a smart kid because he's a 4.0 student and all these other things. But man, Fitzpatrick went to Harvard and he throws a lot of picks too. So there's a difference between being really smart and being able to get good grades and being quarterback smart and being able to make crucial decisions with the football in about 1.5 to 2.5 seconds. It's just a different level. And I feel like you could find a lot of guys that maybe don't excel on pen and paper and on tests and all that can maybe excel better in that environment, and then vice versa. So I can't just look at the 4.0 grade point average and the Wonderlic and all those things and say, oh yeah, he's good. I just can't. That's not what I can do. He was far too inconsistent for me. He just was. And then we go to Jordan Love, who was also really inconsistent. So I understand there's kind of some flaws maybe in that logic. But for me, the big difference between the Justin Herbert inconsistencies and the Jordan Love inconsistencies is that I feel like I didn't watch just Jordan Love and be like, man, he's just inaccurate. I watched him throw. I watched him not have control of his right arm. Like, I watched him throw a bullet to a running back for no reason. Like, dude, he's a running back. He's 7 yards away. Just get the ball to him. Put it on his numbers and let him make a play. And instead, he just wants to sling it and just throw a rocket to his running back that's 2 or 3 yards ahead of him, and it's inaccurate. To me, that's super fixable because I know that I can throw a ball 5 or 6 yards to a running back. So I really believe that a future professional athlete, a college quarterback can do it consistently, when put in the right system or when forced to make adjustments for his arm. So I know that he can do that. I'm not really scared of that. You talk about the inaccuracy down the field. Yeah, it's a little bit scary for me. Again, I just saw him more or less just overshooting guys. I really saw him. I felt like he just had so much, and I keep saying it. I could make excuses for some of it, and I can make excuses for some of the interceptions as well, which interception is a big conversation when you talk about Jordan Love. For me, I can sit there and watch in the exact same game. I can watch him make a throw 3 times, into zone coverage, right over a linebacker's head, and then plopped right to the receiver, and it's just this perfect throw, and it's awesome, and it's a good 10-15 yard throw, first down, way to go, right? All good. And then it gets to the second half, and he tries it 2 more times, and they're interceptions. And people forget about the fact that he just did it. He just made this miraculous throw a second ago, but it wasn't a touchdown, and it wasn't, it just wasn't him just slinging it. So people kind of miss it, or they don't recognize it as greatness when it is. That's an elite throw that he made, and then he tried to do it again, and he throws an interception. There was enough of that where I'm like, okay, cut down on trying to do it all with your right arm, and get out of that mindset where I have to win every single time I'm like every single time I'm throwing the ball. That's just not the case. I can get away from that. Again, there's the other side of it where it's just bonehead stupid decisions, and you just wonder, is he gonna Jameis Winston this? Is he gonna never figure out how to just not make the hero throw every single time? And that's up in the air. Who knows? Who knows? So again, when it all comes down to is, what are you comfortable with? Are you comfortable with a guy with injuries and what I would call a ceiling? Maybe you wouldn't. Maybe you wouldn't call it a ceiling. I would call it a ceiling. If you're comfortable with that, then Tua is your number 2 quarterback. Are you comfortable with really pretty good polishness, or pretty good polish, pretty good quarterback altogether, has some elite traits, physical traits, and super inconsistent? If you're comfortable with that, then it's probably Justin Herbert. He's your number 2 quarterback. And then if you can get away from the interceptions and the somewhat inconsistencies as well from Justin Herbert, but you just fall in love with the arm talent and the just physical ability, it's Jordan Love is your number 2 quarterback. So it just depends on how you view the quarterback position, and if you're a team, if you're looking at it from that standpoint, what can you build around him the best, right? Are you in the situation where you need him to start right now today? Like, are you the Dolphins and you need him to start week 1 this year? Well, you're probably going to roll the dice on the injuries and take Tua, right? Because that just makes the most sense. He's the most polished. He has the most in that regard. And if you're not going to do that, you're probably going to go Justin Herbert, where it's like you're not worried about the polish as much, but you know he could start right away. For me, I believe Jordan Love could start right away, and I do want to be very clear about that. I don't think it's probably in the best interest for him, right? And that's something that I've been a little bit wish-washy about. If you listen to the podcast or anything else, can he start right away? Do you want him in a situation? And am I really going to say that I want him on the Chargers and to be the number 1 quarterback on that team that has a chance to do something this year? Man, that's tough. That's tough. I don't know. Yes and no. Yes, I believe he can, but that's a career-defining decision for that front office, and that's a tough decision to make. And I'm sitting here in my basement with a camera in front of my face. I can say whatever I want. There's no worries. I'm gonna get a little bit of shit from my friends and the 7 people watching this right now that have made it to this far of the video. So who cares what I think, right? It's guys making decisions. My argument against that is, though, for me, if you miss, it's a career-defining decision either way. If you draft, I'm going to use Jordan Love as the example, but you can interchange this for anybody. If you draft Jordan Love at 5, I'm going to use the Dolphins just at 5, second quarterback off the board, and you hit, that's great. But if you draft Tua and Jordan Love goes to the Saints, and he's doing awesome for the Saints, that means the Dolphins are the team that passed up on Drew Brees that went to the Saints, and then Jordan Love that went to the Saints. And this is in this scenario that Jordan Love does well with the Saints. So it's career defining either way. You're going to lose your job because you missed on Jordan Love. You didn't draft him. You had the opportunity. You needed a quarterback. You had no excuse. It's the same reason the guys that drafted Mitch Trubisky aren't in that building anymore. They're not. Because they drafted Mitch Trubisky, and then Patrick Mahomes sat for a year, so that's fine. And then Deshaun Watson just absolutely killed it for the Texans in his rookie year. And you looked at Mitch Trubisky and was like, man, didn't look so good. Wonder if he can make it. And then we're 4 years later, 3 years later, whatever it is, and it's just a big joke now. Like, Mitch Trubisky went 2, and Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson went 10 and 12. You could have the same kind of conversation. It doesn't matter how it goes. If Joe Burrow ends up being a bust and Tua is the face of the franchise for the Dolphins, then the Bengals, whoever made that decision for the Bengals loses his job. Maybe not the Bengals. The Bengals will stick with their guys forever. Who knows? But that conversation can go any way, right? Making a decision with the quarterback, making that choice, you can't miss, especially in the top 10. And if you do miss, you better have a first-round pick the next year to fix it. Looking at you, Josh Rosen and the Arizona Cardinals. Like, that's a tough thing. So for me, it's Jordan Love. I'm gonna bet on the upside. I'm gonna bet on the physical ability to shine through all the other things, and I'll take my chances with Jordan Love if I'm making that decision. And again, that's my decision. That's my choice. That's my opinion. And if you're sitting there thinking Jordan Love is the fourth best quarterback, but you agree with me, that's fine. We can agree. We can both say the exact same thing, and he can be your number 4 quarterback and my number 2, and that's okay. Because I feel like people are going to disagree with me about Tua because I'm going to say things that you just might disagree with. If I say that he's not an elite playmaker, you might just disagree with that, and that's fine. But if you're fine with agreeing that he's really accurate and he's really good and he's going to be really good in the right system, but injuries are scary, and I say he's number 3 because injuries are scary and I just would not take him top 5, we can both agree. If you would say, hey, I would take him top 5 because I'm okay with the injury concerns, it's the same thing. It's okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. This was a little bit of a different video conceptually. Hopefully this worked out. Hopefully you liked it. I'm at the end of recording it, and I'm still not sure if this worked. I don't know. Hopefully it did. Let me know what you think. Tell me if you think I should never do a video like this again, or if you think that I should do another one tomorrow. So let me know. Let me know what you guys think about this quarterback class. Let me know where you think these quarterbacks are going to end up when it's all said and done. And guys, please like and subscribe. Specifically subscribe. If you didn't like this video, subscribe for all the other ones, because I have so much more coming. I'm really excited to show you guys, and you guys go on this journey with me. And if you subscribe, it's going to be all that much easier. So peace out, guys. Thank you.